Hey Brian, it's Ron Hextall from the Penguins. Listen, I'm thinking about cashing in on my future considerations from the 2001 Jaromir Jagr trade with the Capitals, and I think it's only fair that you guys give us Ovechkin because Jagr worked out for you guys there for a couple 2 years. It's your fault you didn't really do anything in the playoffs with him, but I think it's only fair that the Penguins get future considerations. That you guys owe us in that deal, and I think it's only fair that Ovechkin comes back. Hello? Future considerations. It's kind of an oddity when it comes to NHL trades, but it still happens. Basically, for those of you that don't know, it is basically saying, I owe you one in terms of NHL trades. If you have like a third goalie and this team needs one, you'll trade the goalie and then you'll get back future considerations. A lot of times, that future considerations, the I owe you one, is never really paid off. And if it is, it's usually like a late round draft pick. But I'm going to have a little fun with this. This is going to be a little bit of more of an informal video. It's going to be more like a live stream, even though I'm not actually live streaming. I have on the board every future considerations deal that the Penguins have made that is still out there. I'm not including trades that the future considerations was paid off with like an 8th round pick or an 11th round pick. That, when the draft was more than 7th rounds back then, or even cash back then. So there's a lot on the board, and the Penguins, 50 years, pretty historic franchise, but what if the NHL decides one day, which will never happen, all future considerations must be paid off by this date on every year? What would happen? I don't know. The Canadiens, the original 6 teams, would be absolutely screwed. Vegas, Seattle would be like, we only have like maybe two deals to pay off. But the Penguins, if Ron Hextall wants to be, kind of a dick, he should totally call up Brian McClellan of the Capitals and say, hey, Capitals organization still owes me future considerations from the 2001 Jaromir Jagr trade. Where are they? Because, they're technically involved in these deals. And the Penguins right now, if you look at the boards, have more that they need in terms of what they have to pay off. So let's have a little bit of fun with this. This is completely just a thought exercise. Let's go over every future considerations deal that the Penguins have made in their history, and let's pay them off or get paid in a little bit of a fun. You'll see how crazy I'm going to make this. But in 1976, that's how far this goes back. In 1976, the Penguins give away Don Awrey. I also have my laptop up because a lot of these names were before my time, and I don't even know half of these names, so I'm going to have to look some of these guys up on Hockey Reference. So Awrey spent, looking now, he spent 2 years in Montreal, had 52 points in 128 games, 1 goal. So he was more of a shutdown defenseman, and, I think it's only fair that the Penguins give him a player that's, similar in talent. So I think it's fair that the Penguins give the Canadiens Dominic Simon, who, it's going to be a real heartbreak to lose him again. In September of 1985, the Penguins traded Dave Simpson, or the Penguins acquired Dave Simpson in exchange for future considerations for the New York Islanders. I'm looking now, Dave Simpson did not play an NHL game. So I'll give the Islanders a crisp high five to Lou Lamoriello. In 1990, again, this was a 1-for-1 deal, 1-for-1 being future considerations for player, and the Penguins acquired Alain Chevrier in exchange for future considerations. Chevrier played a whopping 3 games for the Penguins, so I think it's only fair that the Penguins give the Blackhawks some cap space. Because cap space is very valuable. And I'm trying to think of big contracts on that team. Their goaltender makes a lot of money, so the Penguins will get that goaltender. I think that's fair. So that Chicago can get cap space, right? Let me look right now. What's that goaltender's name? Marc-Andre Fleury. Okay, the Penguins will get him. Another trade in 1990, the Penguins acquired Brian Wilks from the Edmonton Oilers in exchange for future considerations. It is the future. I'm giving you considerations. And considering Wilks never played a game for the Penguins, let alone the Oilers, I will give you a 2015 Erie Otters card that I have of Connor McDavid. Let me go find it real quick. there you go. That's your future considerations. This is a pretty nice card. It's worth like $30. Okay, not gonna brag. All right, Mason. In 1990, the St. Louis Blues acquired future considerations in exchange for Gordie Roberts, who went to the Penguins. Now, this is one of the trades that actually, may actually be something here, because Gordie Roberts was a pretty big player. Played for the Penguins for 2 years, 39 points in 134 games. I think that's, pretty substantial. Now, again, the Blues are looking to get rid of Tarasenko. I think as a good future considerations deal, the Penguins can help you out there, and we'll take Tarasenko, and that way you guys can, free up some cap space. Actually, you know what? We'll take his full $7 million cap hit, because I think what's going to happen here is the NHL is going to be like, wow, Pittsburgh's paying off all of its future considerations. I like that. The salary cap doesn't apply to them, so thank you for Tarasenko. Thank you for this Marc-Andre Fleury guy. We'll take him. And, we're just helping out. In 1995, the defending Stanley Cup champions, not in 1995, though, the Tampa Bay Lightning traded Wendell Young to Pittsburgh in exchange for future considerations. Wendell Young did play in Pittsburgh before, and then he came back after he went to Tampa. This is actually a pretty substantial trade, no joke here. Like, Wendell Young was a decent backup in the league, and, behind some better goaltenders in Pittsburgh. He was definitely a good complimentary player. 2 years in Tampa and 5 years total in Pittsburgh. But after this trade, though, he only played 10 games with Pittsburgh. So we'll pay you back with a 7th round pick there, Tampa. In 2004 and in 2008, the Phoenix Coyotes at the time made 2 different trades with the Penguins. They gave the Penguins Landon Wilson, and in 2008, Mike Zigomanis. Both of those deals going the other way for the Arizona Coyotes was future considerations. Again, the Coyotes are, despite being a pretty bad team, they have a lot of, bad contracts. So I think it's only fair that the Penguins take some more cap space, and, that's kind of the trade there in itself, that, it helps you guys out. The AZ Sports Guy, if you're listening, I think, it's only fair that the Penguins get Kessel back for free, or for future considerations, because cap space. And last up in our payment process here, it's been really tough so far. The Penguins have had to take on a lot of bad contracts, Tarasenko, Kessel, and Fleury, whoever that is, but it doesn't matter, because the Penguins, salary cap doesn't apply to them now because they're doing this. In 2006, the Penguins acquired Wade Brookbank. Never played a game for the Penguins, from the Boston Bruins, and the Bruins acquired future considerations. Boston will give you a 7th rounder for him as well. All right, now we get into the fun part. Now we get to call up a bunch of other GMs and be like, hey, where's my money? Let's go in reverse order here. The last trade that the Penguins ever made with future considerations involved was almost a decade ago in 2013 with the Columbus Blue Jackets. The Penguins gave them Patrick Killeen, and they got future considerations. On Hockey Reference, Patrick Killeen doesn't even show up, so I'll take a 7th rounder from you, Columbus. Same thing applies for Steve Parsons, who was given to the Nashville Predators in 2002, right as they were coming into the league. He never played an NHL game. Can't find him on Hockey Reference. I'll take another 7th rounder from you, Nashville. All right, now we get into the fun one. In 2001, which you did a trade tree on, the Penguins gave Jaromir Jagr to the Washington Capitals for 3 players that never really panned out, and it's a bad trade. And even though Jagr moved on, it's still a bad trade. But the trade tree is not technically over, as the Capitals have never paid future considerations to the Penguins. Jagr, European superstar winger, does a lot of good things for the Capitals organization, scores a lot of goals. Who else is like that on the current roster for the Capitals? I think it's only fair that the Penguins acquire Alex Ovechkin as that future considerations pick. And he just got re-signed. Another guy that didn't make the NHL, Sean O'Brien, was given to the Flyers in 1999. But since it's the Flyers, I'm upping it to a 6th round pick, because screw Philly. All right, now we have a player that has actually made it to the NHL. In 1993, Peter Ahola was given to the San Jose Sharks, right as they were coming into the league. In Pittsburgh, he only played 22 games. San Jose, he only played 20 games. However, I think it's, a good thing that the Sharks owe us one, because we kind of already did owe the Sharks one, not getting Marleau a Stanley Cup. So what my proposition here is that we come to terms that Marleau is never going to win a Stanley Cup, and we apologize. The Penguins apologize for not getting him a cup, and the Sharks take the future considerations away, and it's kind of just a wash there. So it's an apology. I'm sorry, Patty, you're never going to win a cup. Okay, all joking aside, in 1998, this was a pretty substantial trade. The Penguins acquired Alexei Kovalev and Harry York and future considerations from the Rangers in exchange for Peter Nedved, Sean Pronger, and Chris Tarmer. Nedved worked for the Rangers, and Kovalev definitely worked for the Penguins. He was one of their big scorers in the 90s, in the mid-90s, late 90s, when the Penguins weren't very good, but still. This is a pretty fair trade, in my opinion, if you just look at it from Kovalev and Nedved. But the future considerations is still there for the Penguins. So, a blockbuster trade. Who's a blockbuster player on the Rangers? I think it's only fair that the Penguins take Artemi Panarin from the Rangers. And then in 1989, the Rangers also made a future considerations trade, but the Penguins gave Lee Griffin to the Rangers. He never made the NHL, so I'll just look at the Rangers roster right now, see if I can find a guy that's never going to make it to the NHL. Alexis Lafreniere, I'll take him. Don't really know who that guy is, so I think that's fair. And, maybe if he doesn't work out, I can take someone else. Who they got? Capo Caco. I'll take him too. Okay, we have our first trade on the board that is from a team that doesn't exist anymore. In 1985, the Quebec Nordiques acquired Wayne Babych, and the Penguins acquired future considerations. And since the Nordiques no longer exist, it'll be the Colorado Avalanche. So not only did the Penguins give you Wayne Babych, who played 15 games for you and scored 11 points. That's amazing. That's almost a point per game right there from a third overall pick, a right winger. Not only did you get that guy who's a superstar, you also had the audacity to try and confuse things by changing your name. So I'm going to take Nathan MacKinnon from you, Colorado, and I hope you learn your lesson. In 1983, the Penguins acquire future considerations in exchange for Andre St. Laurent. St. Laurent played 19 games for the Red Wings in 83-84, and he scored 4 points. He was a -3. But the Detroit Red Wings really owed the Penguins just in general after 2008. So what this future considerations is going to be is that the Red Wings denounce the 2008 Stanley Cup and give it to the Penguins. So the Penguins have 6 Stanley Cups now, and then they went back-to-back 3 times in their history. So congratulations to the 2008 Pittsburgh Penguins. See, it's, more GMs should do this. They can win cups this way. More GMs should get those future considerations paid off. I'm a fucking wizard with this, Future considerations, it's the way of the future. It's the way of the future. I got acquired Nathan MacKinnon this way. That's how you do it, Ron. Pay attention. 83 as well, the Penguins give the Devils Grant Mulvey in exchange for future considerations. Let's see what Mulvey did in the NHL. But it does say here that Grant had a brother, Paul Mulvey, that also played in the NHL, and he played for Pittsburgh. Oh wait, so they reunited the two? Okay, or they were reunited and then they split up. So the Devils have any brothers that are on their team? Oh yes, they do. Luke Hughes and Jack Hughes. Now I'm taking them both. And then last up in 1981, the Penguins give the Islanders Rob Holland in exchange for future considerations. Holland, I think it's fair that the Penguins get Holland back. So we're going to take Tom Holland, who I don't think has any involvement with the New York Islanders, but we're still taking Spider-Man on our team. And there we go. Well, Spider-Man's from, New York, so that should make sense. So there you go. Let's go over to Cap Friendly and see what the Penguins look like now. So yeah, there it is. Absolutely beautiful. The Penguins are definitely winning the Stanley Cup with this roster now, because Dominic Simone is off of it. Like, comment, subscribe. Again, this is kind of just like a joke. But still, future considerations are weird, so I decided to pay them off and also make other general managers give me their good players. So like, comment, subscribe. Almost to 400 subs. Thank you so much for that. I'll see you guys all in the next video.